All our speakers here. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to invite our first speaker very quickly. Please put your hands together for the dynamic founder and CEO of Mobos Fashion, a leading omni-channel fashion retail company out of Africa, Omobowale Biobaku. Is she here? Oh, you're welcome. Thank you very much. Please put your hands together for her as she comes forward. Thank you so much. You're welcome. Please take your seat. And I love that you're good. I mean, she's phenomenal. So I'm also going to be listening and taking notes. We also have joining us off stage for this session, founder and chief executive officer of Wavelane Growth Partners, a microfinance institution focused on promoting financial inclusion. Please put your hands together for Taba Peterside. Okay. And also joining us, you're welcome, ma'am. Thank you so much. Also joining us for this session is an experienced regional sales head with a demonstrated history of working in the financial services industry. Please help me welcome Arthur Nkemeh. Okay, he's coming. Please come on, warmly welcome him. Okay, and of course our wonderful moderator for this session. Okay, I'm just trying to find her profile quickly, and I cannot. Okay, so one of my papers. Please put your hands together for the wonderful Dara Olayebi. Sinmi Olayebi, ladies and gentlemen, my goodness. I beg your pardon for Sinmi Olayebi. She's going to be moderating this panel. Thank you very much, Sinmi.
All right. Can everybody hear me? Wonderful. Good afternoon. Thank you to our amazing speakers for making the time. I think that everybody has heard the title of this workshop and you understand what it is, but I would like to demystify it just a little. Right now we're talking about money and why money is important and why turning your passion into money is critical. I think a good way to start would be, I need a show of hands. How many of us in this audience are business owners? Just raise your hand confidently. I feel like there are more business owners in the audience. Why aren't you guys confident? Raise your hands. All right. Keep your hands up, please. Keep your hands up. So how many of us have our financial statements for the last year? Okay, how many people have an accountant? How many people know how much they made last year? How many people know how much they made last month? Okay, so can you guys see the problem? And can you guys see why we're having this conversation today? We're having this conversation to say, as much as you can have a passion, it's very important for us to turn that into profit. And we have three amazing experts on the stage to tell us how and why that is important. Okay, so let's dive into it. Since we all know we need this masterclass, I'm going to start with Mrs. Taba Peterside. And I think just basically based on this show of hands we've just done, I would like you to share some of the side effects of not actually having your visibility on your finances as a business owner. Like, what are the big ticket risks that people face?
Okay, Hello. Yeah, can you hear me? Okay. Thank you very much, Simi. And it's great to be on this panel. Well, Simi has approached it from the other angle. What are the risks? You know, what's the downside of not having visibility on your finances? You know, as the title says, it's one thing to have a passion, but somebody is like, you go to bed at night, you lock your front door, secure it very well, there's burglary proof and all that. Then at the back, the kitchen door is open. In fact, it's wide open. And anybody can come in and take anything and go out. So you're there on the front pursuing your passion. But the passion can only be sustained if you have a handle on your finances, your numbers. You know, that's why Simi asked about an accountant. You don't have, when you hear accountant, you are probably thinking, you know, some big, or even when I say you must know your numbers, there has to be some basic understanding of, call it even bookkeeping. If I ask, can anybody here tell me how much, I won't ask for the figure, but do you know how much, June is ending now. How much did you make in the month of June? Sales. Is this on any, okay. Okay, I have one hand like this. Okay, I have one hand. Who can, okay, two. Confidently tell me, yeah, this is what I did. I did 30 million naira sales, revenue. How about expenses? How much did you spend in the month on salaries, maybe some rent, maybe some local government, radio tax, or one thing? Do you have any idea how much you spent? How much you spent buying, you know, your stock or supplies? My blonde friend here, she's smoking here. She's the only one. So if you don't know, the short answer to a question, and I'm sure we'll come back to it, but if you don't have a handle on that, how do you know how much cash is leaving your business? How do you know that your staff is not bringing their POS to work to help themselves, you know, when you're not there? Who is keeping an eye on your stock, your stocking levels? Whether it's clothes, whether it's bags, whether it's things that are, you know, that you can't see. Maybe you're a service. So if you don't know these things, and people, cash is not the same thing as profit, and profit is not the same thing as cash. So if you have cash in hand, you've just got a big order, somebody has prepaid, it doesn't mean that your business as a whole is doing well. Okay? And then you can also be very profitable and be short of cash. I think I'll come back to that, but I'll leave it there for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think my favorite part is leaving the kitchen door open. I know none of us do that in our actual homes, so why would you do it with your business, something that's supposed to be feeding you? I'm going to shift now to Mrs. Mobo, because she is both a retail store owner and a fashion line creator and producer. And I think I would like you to kind of make this real for us. How have you incorporated this closed back door mechanism into your business? How have you actually incorporated this and enabled yourself to grow, and what impact has it had?
Okay. Hello, everyone. So my name is Omobowale Biobaku, as I was earlier introduced, and I'm the founder and CEO of Mobos Fashion, an omnichannel fashion retail business. We say out of Africa because the goal is for us to go to all the parts, to go global, basically. So we've been in this business for over 2 decades. And I mean, for any business, I say cash flow is king. So if you don't plan your finances, I guess that's your question, you're leaving the back door open, like she said. So I've been able to scale from 1 store to about 6 stores now, and we're still going without a loan. So that tells you something. We have grown organically. So it is possible to grow organically. It might take longer, but it is possible. And the only way you can do that is to have your finances in place. Have it always in check. So you shut the back door. When I initially started, and I'll speak to you, I'll just tell you a bit of my story. That's how I'm going to answer a lot of questions. When I initially started, she asked the question that how many of you have an accountant? And I didn't see a lot of hands up, which is okay. I didn't have an accountant. I was everything when I started. I told you I started small and I grew organically. I started in my house. I was in my living room or my study turned boutique for 2 years before I opened the first store, which means I tried the business if it will work before going out. I did not go looking for money. I tried to build the idea that I had. So I did that for 2 years before I went out. And getting the first store, I did not get a loan to pay my rent. Starting the first store, I couldn't even get a loan to continue the business. But guess what I did? Which is why planning your finances, putting it in front of you helps, is that we kept plowing back. So no accountant, but I'm sure each and every one of us sitting here, we did something in school called mathematics. And I think that's all you need. And to be able to write, we can read, we can write. We're taking it down to the basics. So you can read, you can write. You buy something for 10 naira, and you are selling for 500 naira. What's your profit? Let's just call this profit. What's your profit? 400 naira. Abi? 490. 10 to 500. 490. Out of that 490, what are the expenses? Because that's not your profit here too. Because you've called your customer, please now pay me my money. You have to call them. Phone bills has to come out of there. Okay, what else do? You are still branding. I said you started with, you have 10 naira. We have not reached that level. I want you people to be able to, there's a process to this thing. A lot of people want to jump the gun. People ask me, how much do you need to start a business? And I tell you, just start with whatever you are. Whatever you have. You can start wherever you are. And Caller 2 said something. Caller said, someone asked a question. I'm so happy I was here. I'm happy that I was here when you asked that question. That do you need skill or gadgets? And he said, if you're a lawyer, what are you going to get first? The wig or the knowledge? So now let's start from where we are. We don't have money, but we want to build something. You do your calculation yourself. So we're not talking about branding yet. We're talking about your phone bill. You're starting small, remember? Your electricity bill, transportation to get it. What else? Food, because you have to eat. You have to now add all those things together. Those are your expenses. You remove it from that 490. Whatever is left, if you have a rent, even if you're not paying rent yet, take it out of the money. Assume this is how much you're paying for the rent and take it out. Deduct it. Whatever is left, let's just say 300. You see now that we have it right in front of us. That was how I grew my business. That was what I did. I still have notes from when I started over 20 years ago. I still have the notes of how I took what I bought, where I bought it, how much I bought it, how much I'm going to sell it, everything, how much I'm making out of it for after selling. I have everything written down. So if you do not put all those things right in front of you, Mrs. Taba said, your back door is open. You always have to try to keep it short. But the only way you can do that is to make sure you are constantly checking. You are constantly checking. It's a game of numbers. What is happening? Why are my numbers dwindling? Why am I not making? When you ask yourselves those tough questions, you can answer them and then do what? Move forward. Did I answer that question? Thank you.
Very well. I think we can give that a round of applause. No, definitely. I think you've practicalized it a lot further. And I think this is a good chance to pivot to the banker in our panel. Because I think there's a sense in which profit is really the priority for banks. But in an earlier conversation we also talked a little bit about passion and why it's important. So I was wondering how banks like WEMA, Mr. Author, assess passion and how big a role it plays in how you support their sustainable business growth. What are the things that you would do as a bank to assess passion and support that growth?
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I'm very delighted seeing young startups and young MSMEs. SME has been my passion, and I've done this across several banks. I'm currently the head of SME banking in Nigeria for one bank, and I basically work with young people, MSMEs, from the nano, micro, and all of that. And alluding to what the two speakers said, you see, it's easier today to start business in Nigeria than how it was like 15, 20, 30 years ago. Today we have lots of programs in place like mentorship program. You have shared services that you could collocate. Somebody was talking about, do you have an accountant? Today you might not need to have an accountant. You can actually have shared services. One accountant can work for 20 MSMEs. You don't need to have an accountant in your retainership that you pay salaries. There are accounting softwares that you could actually download from Play Store, from Google and all of that, and use that to begin to put some level of bookkeeping around your business. There are things around monitoring. As you're here, we are having this engagement, somebody is stealing from your shop, and they call it workshop. Now, where did they work? Did they shop? So you have about, you bought leather, worth about 300,000. As you're here, somebody has chopped off leather worth about 30K. And you wouldn't know. So there are basic tools to softwares that can actually even install in your location and in your offices. So whilst you are somewhere trying to engage hustling, as that business owner, that small enterprise owner, you're able to still keep a tab on your stock and all of that. Now, coming to talk about passion, you see, 5 out of every 10 businesses that start dies in the first 3 years. And this is basically caused when you don't have a passion. So you don't get into a business because all of your guys are doing it. People are doing ice cubes, cocktail. You want to go and do leather is the order of the day. You want to start doing bangles. You must understand what is my passion. What can I? Because it's your passion that will drive you, that will sustain you. There's going to be economic headwinds, right? And coming to us as a bank, we beyond, even though passion is not a very tangible or quality or assessment that we use in terms of appraising your loan request, but we want to evaluate and engage to find out how passionate are you. What is your level of understanding of the industry you want to play in? Do you understand the market analysis, your competitors? Do you understand the supply chain involved in that industry? How are you going to manage your vendor? How passionate are you? In fact, even having as good as clear communication skills. Sometimes when you're communicating to your bankers or even to investors, you're trying to pitch. If you are not articulate, you are not passionate, you don't understand how you can be able to convincingly talk the banker into listening to you, getting him to come down to your level to understand the nitty-gritty of your business, it might also impact you being able to access money. You must have a business plan. He that does not, that fails to plan, plans to fail. So your business plan must be written down somewhere. These days, you could go to ChatGPT, put ideas of what you're trying to look at. It can help you come up with a business plan, and you must follow it. So the business plan is your playbook, is your company playbook. It encapsulates your strategy, your mission, and your vision statement as a business. Even us as a bank, if we have our morning meetings, we speak about our vision statement. We want to be the dominant digital platform in Africa providing seamless financial services. That is why for us in Wema, everything we do, we think about innovation, about digital. We must continue to lead the conversation, staying ahead of the curve while other industries and other banks play catch up. So you as a business owner, some of us here own businesses, but if I ask you what is your vision, you might not know. What's your business plan? You might not know. What is your 2 years projection? Where do you see yourself? Where do you want to be in the next 3 years? So if you have a business plan, it enables you to begin to work in accordance with that plan to say, okay, I'm thinking of having a physical store somewhere in Oba. And it's going to take me about 600,000 to have this store. Right now, I'm not there, and I've set a target to be there sometime in January. So whatever you are doing, you are working towards making sure whether you want to partner with somebody, whether you want to share a store with someone, whether they want to do share services, rent a space, you begin to work towards that. Passion also drives your innovation. So when we are speaking with SMEs, we want to see how innovative minded you are. Because if you're not innovative, you can also go into extinction after a short while. So if you're not passionate, you might not also be able to persevere because definitely there will be challenges. There are going to be challenges in business. Even us as a bank, we just turned 79 years old in business. So we've also, at some point, the bank started even in a small room, and began to grow. So there will always be a story to tell. So, but the only thing that will sustain your business continuity is that passion. So I've talked about you must be passionate, you must have an innovative mindset, you must have a business plan, you must also have knowledge of the industry where you want to play in, understand the market trend, understand competitors, understand the supply chain, so that you don't also, so in any shortest impact, you're able to be insulated. You must also understand talent management. Part of the problems SMEs have today is that there's a dearth of talent, especially we're having this fair, in the leather industry. A lot of people don't want to even come into this industry or to even learn how to do the craftsmanship. So if you also have talent, you must also know how to maintain and retain your talent, because if you're also having talent drift, it can also affect your business. So in all of this, when you are discussing with your banker, the guy listens in between the lines to understand your passion, to be able to be sure that you understand what you want to do, how you're going to manage your finances, and other non-financial factors, what we call the non-financial assessment, which is what really speaks to your passion, is very important, and one of the things that banks consider in granting credit to small businesses.
Thank you so much. That was a very holistic answer. I think in summary, what I'm hearing, first of all, is you have to first of all know that your back door is open. Then you have to start planning in order to close it, but you have to kind of let your passion guide you, if I'm to summarize what all the speakers have said. I'm going to go back to Mrs. Taba now, because you work with a lot of MSMEs who are trying to put these structures in place. I would like to understand what the, let's say, first big 3 steps you recommend that businesses take in order to do this guard railing of their businesses and ensuring that they can work towards sustainable growth.
Okay, I think the first one I had in mind, the author has spoken extensively on it, and that is really, it's about the why of your business. You have this idea, you want to go into business, maybe you have this passion about, but really, what problem are you trying to solve? How would the world be deficient if you didn't start your business? I mean, what problem are you trying to solve? What gap are you trying to fill? What need are you trying to meet? It may be that, you just, and you may not actually want to be in business for the long term. You might just be bored and want something to do. But if that's the reason you're going into business, it's going to be very difficult to weather some of the difficulties that life will throw at your business. So you'd really need to understand and to ask yourself, look, am I ready for this journey? And yeah, so number one, what problem am I trying to solve? Then I would also say that you need to begin to view your business as a separate entity from your personal, from your personal finances, and the business is a separate entity. So even if you don't start to go and incorporate as a limited liability company, at least have a business name. I think if you had a business name and the requirements there are not as heavy and all that, but in your mind it will give you the discipline that this is a different entity from me. So this is an entity that has its own bank accounts, it has its own identity. So let us resist the temptation to go in between both accounts. And in microfinance, we see this quite often. I mean, we have Madam Mobos, who did not borrow in the early days. But there's nothing wrong with borrowing, I of course, as a microfinance person, but it's not something you necessarily get into at the very beginning. Family and friends, personal savings and all that, because you don't want to start necessarily getting into debt on day one. Borrowing can help you scale if you are wise about how you take it. But this thing about separating, I had I had a customer I was talking to the other day, and she's typical of the profile that we see. She was very passionate about her business. She was in agri processing. So I said, well, we will need to see your account statements. So she said, well, yes, she can give account statement, but sometimes she uses her own personal account too. She just, dumps it there. And so by the time we started asking her, okay, some of the questions I asked at the beginning: how much did you make last month? In a typical month, your expenses, what sort of return, what is your profit after all this? How much do you, she started to now, she said, I'm passionate about selling this. I say, yes. But by the time you come to a Wema Bank or come to a Waveline, we will ask you these questions. So you need to try to keep your business separate from your personal, and that discipline of not dipping into it when times are hard, because there'll always be a reason, an excuse to dip into it. I would also say that it's already been said, so I wouldn't go much into that. I'll talk about something else. Learn basic bookkeeping. That from the very basic level, we've already heard it. Just keep a record, and a lot of our customers don't even have that exercise book and biro record of what goes out and what comes in. We heard that cash is king. So if you are selling to people on credit the whole time, and you're not on top of that, of collecting on that credit, you will soon find yourself running into trouble. You can be selling on credit, but do you pay salaries on credit? Do you get your own supplies on credit? So if you having all those things going out, and your vendors, they want payment immediately, meanwhile you are giving somebody, pay me in 15 days, pay me in 30 days. If you are going to go into partnership with somebody, everything must be well documented. The chairman of my own company said, people don't think of us, this was years ago, we were 7 years old then. She said people's behavior change once money starts coming. So if you're going to go into partnerships, make sure from day one, you can amend it as circumstances change, but from day one, let there be some sort of agreement governing that partnership. But then partnership can also be in another way. We've heard about value chain from Wema Bank. This same lady I was telling you about, she's into the poultry business. And once she told me that, my mind immediately went to, because producing chickens is highly risky if you don't know what you're doing. The production aspect of it. If you don't inject them, vaccinate them at the correct time, if you don't have the correct kind of feed and all kinds of things, you can lose your whole stock. So she quickly realized this, and she learned from mistakes. And that's another thing you must be ready to do. You must be ready to make mistakes. But what are those mistakes? They are not an opportunity or an excuse to get out of the business. You relearn, you retool. We have our own, the stories of our own mistakes can be another workshop entirely. But you learn from them. So I think she may have had issues at this, with production. Then she said, you know what? Why do I have to be into the producing of chickens? I can process. My own is processing and marketing. My skills are in marketing. So she has big farmers who she makes sure, have the resources to do this properly. She pays them once the birds have passed that critical stage. You know how we say a child, once you've passed the first birthday, that's a key milestone. So with chickens, it's maybe about 20-something weeks, she makes her payment. So she has de-risked, that is out of it. Her processor, she doesn't process either. She has people who do the processing. So her own is logistics. She transports the chickens and then she sells them, to different outlets. So you don't have to do everything yourself. Think about the strength that you bring. What is your strength? Do you want to be the operator? Do you want to be the logistics person? Do you want to be in the production? Do you want to be in the sales? You know, and you can expand. You can backward integrate as you go on. But you don't have to start everything from day one. Yeah. So I'll just to summarize then, it's the points I made were about separate your business, consider partnerships, and okay, yes. Sorry?
There was also vision, which was the big one. Make sure your vision is
why are you in
have your
business
why.
in the first
Yeah.
place?
No, those were big. And then there was also the point on discipline. I think that deserves a round of applause. And I hope we're all taking notes so that we can build businesses that grow more sustainably. I'm going to shift to Mrs. Mobo now, because I would like to understand how your financial planning and management has evolved between then and now. You said 20 years ago versus now. We know things are massively different. How has it evolved for you, and what are some of the, if you can practicalize some of the tools you have begun to adopt and the methods you've begun to adopt?
Thank you very much for the question. I'll piggyback on what Mrs. Peterside said. She said, keep your books. Yeah, you said keep bookkeeping.
Separate.
Keep your personal
And,
separate from your business.
Yeah.
From the onset of my business, I don't know where I got that from, but that was one thing I did. I did not mix both. And thinking back, probably I didn't mix both because I determined that I wanted to grow a business. I wasn't just playing like hobby. I wanted to grow something. I know some people that we started business together and they're no longer in business today. Not to say they didn't do it right. I mean, they did it the way they had to do theirs. But not overspending or impulsive spending really helped. I would say that I always tell my children that if you probably appear before your time, you will disappear. And they go, what does that mean? What does that mean? You're always saying all these things. If I was buying the Chanel bags, let me not even go to Chanel, the Kate Spade shoes, the Aldo, let me come down, the Kors, if I was buying them, I would have been denting the finances of my business. But I made up my mind that I wasn't going to buy anything. So for close to how many years, I didn't shop. But guess what? I didn't miss it. And I wasn't going out looking drabby. Trust me. I was decked to the T. Because when you like fashion, you want to look good. You say passion is my fashion, Abby. Fashion is my passion. I can say fashion is really my passion. So a lot of things I put away to focus on my business. There is that focus that you need, that determination that you want to take this and you want to impact the world. You want to impact people around you. You want to impact your industry. And you cannot do that when you cannot manage your resources, when you cannot manage your finances. So one thing was clear to me is not overspending or frivolous spending. I didn't indulge in that. So that's one thing I didn't do. Another thing is, okay, because I wasn't overspending, of course, I wouldn't dip my money into the business money when I'm calculating everything to the last penny. 5,000 naira. Okay, this. But remember, I was at home. So discipline is so important. The fact that I was in the house for 2 years didn't mean that I could spend all my money. No. I am from Malaysia. And then people owing. The tendency is, because you're running your business from home, they want to take credit, which we did then. And I did, but also we had a lot of bad debts. Because if you sell on credit, you have to call them to increase, you have to call the customers to please pay. So you are wasting your what? Phone bills. You are incurring more expenses on what you have sold on. So we did that. A lot of dot checks and all that. But by the time I opened my first store, because we started with that, we still continued. But when you get to a point, you have to talk to yourself. If this is not working, I have to change. So I just woke up one day and I told my girls then, I said, no more credits. They're like, eh? No more credits. They were like, no ma, I will not sell. They will not buy. I said, don't worry. They will come back. For the first month, it was kind of slow, but I told them, no, you must have a standard. And when you have your standard and you say this is where I'm going, don't look back. They will adjust. Eventually, they all came back. They came back. And that was how I stopped selling on credit. I met a Canadian guy, and he's a Canadian man, an elderly person. He actually came to Nigeria for a retail course. And I sat with him at Sheraton, I can never forget. And I said to him that we sell credits in Nigeria. He said, what do I mean? I said, I give them the product, I had to break it down, and then they give me post-dated check, or they'll pay later. He said, what? I said, yes. He said, he has never heard that before in his whole life, and he's in retail. He's a retail guru. He said, as a retailer, you shouldn't do that. And then I now added after a while that I told my girls, it is not customer service to give your goods out and tell them pay later. That's not customer service. Customer service is treat your customers right, attend to them properly. So I stopped that. The moment I stopped, it affected the business a bit, but they came back and I could see money. Because you were not seeing money, you were seeing checks. Some checks that would never be paid. And you have to write them off. You also talked about, there's something else you talked about, because I'm talking partnerships. I'll say partnership for me is in terms of my employees. When one person has a vision, it's not for you alone to execute that vision. There are people that you need to help you to achieve it. You are just the carrier of the vision, but you can't execute it on your own. I'll say, my pastor will say, when you see lettuce, what are you seeing? Salad. Do you get it? Lettuce, but it's not only lettuce. You need other things to garnish that lettuce for you to enjoy your salad. So you carry the visions, but you need other people to execute the vision with you. So we cannot overestimate, we can't say it enough that partnership is key. You can do this. Now, thank you. I know what I want to talk about. You must identify where the role you play in your industry or in the business you want to run. What is your role? People say, in Nigeria now, some people manufacture their product, they sell the product, they market the product, they do everything all by themselves. It's a lot. It's a lot. Me, I cannot do it. Because even the one I'm doing is a lot of work. Then people say, you should start. And people will tell you things, but you have to be clear on where you're going and what you want to achieve. People tell me, you should start producing your clothes. You should start producing your bags. And I'm like, do you know how many bags I need to go around my 6 stores? Is it 6? I can't remember. The 6 location and plus online. And then I'll go into manufacturing. That is a different sector on its own. So, except you have to be able to scale. To do that all by yourself, and run multiple stores and also be online, and you are dealing with tailors, you are dealing with shoemakers, you are dealing with all of them, is a lot. So if it's okay if you are still doing a couple, not a lot, you are doing maybe 5, but if you want to serve the world, eventually you have to determine where you want to play. Am I a fashion retailer? I am a fashion retailer. I produce all over the world, and I produce a certain percentage in Nigeria. And that certain percentage I produce in Nigeria, I have people that have outsourced the production to. So what am I doing? I'm checking what you have done. Okay, this is what I'd like you to do. This is my drawing. This is what I want here. Go get me the samples. I see the sample. I confirm the sample. Go into production. You see that one now? I've moved. I'm not involved in the nitty-gritty of the manufacturing, but I have to check and confirm. So partner with people that can help you scale your idea, your ideas, your vision, your whatever it is. Partner with them. Also, if you don't prioritize your finances, what happens eventually is that the business is going to wind up. It's only a matter of time. It will wind up. And we have started something. Whatever you have started, you want it to grow. You want to take it to the next level. In fact, if possible, you want to pass it on to the next generation. I said to my children, that, are you interested in fashion retail? No, I'm a lawyer. I said, okay, I'm giving you free money. You're saying you're a lawyer. All the work I've done. I said, don't worry, I have a young girl. She's 8 years old. She came, we're swimming, and she said, Auntie, who is going to take over your business? 8 years old. So they're a new crop of children now. At 8, you are asking me that you don't have a girl, Auntie, who is going to take over your business, because I would like to do it. And she drew a dress that, can you make this dress? I said, wow. I said, Angela, you don't need to do it. Ini is ready to take over. I said, mommy, please, please, please. I will do it. I can do it. I can do it. So we want to be able to pass the business to the next generation. But you have to ensure you put proper planning in place. Your processes has to be in place. If you are not prioritizing, how do you know what you are making? What's your sales budgeting? Or whatever I sell, I sell. You have to have a target. How much do you want to make this year? Do you know? Do you know? You must write it down. I want to make, by the end of this year, you want to make $1 million. You don't want? You want $1 million. By the time you write it down that you want to make $1 million, your brain, everything around you is wired to doing what? Making that $1 million. Unlike, I didn't sell today, I didn't sell tomorrow. If you have a target, break it down. You want to make $1 million. Okay. For 2024. Divide that $1 million into 12 months. How much is that? Divide that 12 months into what? 30 days. How much is that? That 30 days, you divide the 12 months, then you divide it into weekly, then you divide it into daily. So daily, you have to make a certain amount. So in fact, divide it also into hourly. Hourly. You want to say, every hour I need to make 20,000 naira. If by the next hour you are not making 20,000, you pick your phone, you're calling. Oh, we have this new stuff would you like to buy this shoe? Oh, we have this new thing in. You see what you're doing? Little drops of water make a mighty ocean. Don't look at $1 million. Look at it, divide it into achievable bits. How long will it take you to make this? Put everything down. By the first month, you want to make this. And if you don't make it by the first month, it's okay. You did not fail. It's because you didn't do some things. Now, think again. What can I do? He said be innovative. Always be on your toes, thinking, how can I do this? What else can I do? If you're not thinking like that, the business is, you have to be innovative. You call this person, the person is on answering. What can I do again? Okay, this person bought from me. Send her a thank you message. Oh, thank you for shopping from us. Hope you're enjoying your purchase. Would like to invite you for the next whatever, and you get 10% off. You're only giving 10% off, but you're selling. And when she comes, she'll even buy more. So you must devise strategies every day to achieve the goals you've set for yourself. Do your sales forecasting, do your sales budgeting, talk to your I know how much I make per square meter in my store. You must calculate it. How much are you making per square meters? I know how much I'm paying the salaries for my staff. How much per hour? Then sometimes I tell them, you're not making money. You're not making money because this is how much you make. How? You have to make it. You earn it. You earn it. So you must ensure you know whatever you do not measure, you cannot manage. You must measure everything for you to be able to manage it. You must measure everything for you to be able to manage whatever it is. If you don't manage your staff, they will do whatever they like. How do you keep your inventory? I'm talking from the point of view of a fashion retailer. Inventory is key. It can either kill your business or it can grow your business. It can kill your business if you overstock, because then you have dead stock. You can grow your business you can grow your business if you have enough stock for your customers. Not your customers are coming in and we are sold out. We are sold out. We are sold out. Which means you need more. You need more. And how do you get more? You need more money to invest in that business for more. You were buying 10, now you move to buying 20. Why? That's what's called scaling. You're scaling from 10 to 20. You have more customers to buy. You don't want a situation where you have sold out and you have 20 people coming. When you see those 20 people coming, don't see the 20 people leaving your store. See your money leaving. If you are not on top of it, there are a lot of things you won't be able to do. Don't forget to always check what you're doing. Don't forget to know where you are, where you want to play, partner with others. And I think I have to round up so that we have
No, that was
Mr.
amazing.
Arthur.
I think that was a workshop in itself. Thank you so much. I think before I go on to Mr. Arthur, Mrs. Taba wants to build on that point.
There's so much that's been said there that's spot on. And I just wanted to emphasize, you must carry your staff along. They must know how money is made in this business. You must carry them along, because what they see is at the end of the month, they get paid. What is the business, like I said, is a separate entity, it's an organism. What is the process by which money is paid? That money gets into your hand at the end of the month. I'm in service is intangible. I lend money. Last 3 months ago, I sat my staff down. I said, you know what? It's not business as usual. Nigeria is not business as usual. We have to adapt to be able to survive. So I took them through how money comes in, how money comes out. You need to know, like, how much do I need to sell, or how many loans do I need to give for me to be profitable? And you, all of you, loan officers, one after the other, you need to be making X times more than your salary, because there's back office. So I took them through all the numbers. So long and short, if you're not booking X million of loans in a month, you are a liability. You're excess baggage to me. And after a while, well, if you can't pay for excess baggage, what do? You leave it behind. So your staff need to be carried out, so they understand that it's not just at the end of the month they get their pay. They need to know that they have a role. Their role is to generate that money.
Thank you so much. Thank you for building on that point and adding so much color to it. I think before I ask Mr. Arthur the question, can I just get a show of hands how many questions I have in the audience? Any questions in the audience? Okay, I have one. Perfect. 2. Okay. We're at 3. Okay, so very briefly, before we throw it to the 3 people who just raised their hands, I think just to go back to the title of our talk, I think one thing to help the audience understand would be, what does sustainable business growth actually mean? And how, for instance, does a bank like Wema actually help to enable that for MSMEs and you in your position?
Okay, thank you very much. So basically, in one word, let's leave all the whole big English and grammar. For you as a business, sustainability is today, tomorrow, and forevermore. Your businesses must outlive you. Your businesses must be transferable. People must be able to come in and take over that business and run it. The business must be able to scale. Business is not a project, it's a program that is scalable. So, for me, sustainable business is basically a strategy of seeing a business grow in expansion, in revenue and profitability without negative impact on environmental and social goals. So as you are growing as a business, you also need to look at the impact, the environmental, social, governance impact of the environment. So if you are doing a business, let's say you are into production, and you are creating a number of environmental hazard, disruption, spillage, then that is not sustainability, because you are growing at the expense of the environment, right? And that being said, so we must imbibe ESG integration in our business model. We must also want to see that this business is growing in revenue and in profitability. You know, you can grow in revenue and you make a loss. Revenue is not profitability. So as the revenue is growing, the profitability is growing. It's very important. We are looking at the environmental stewardship. So things around reduction in carbon emission footprint, things around ethics. We want to see the level of corporate governance that you've been able to put in your businesses. We want to see how you've been able to put in a robust risk management structure in place, because you must have a risk management structure. There must be pressure points. So you must have identified what are the likely challenges you're going to have, what are the likely risks that can impact your business, and what are the mitigants you've put in place should they happen, because they are bound to happen. And those mitigants that you put in place are those things that will be able to insulate you from those shocks and action. Customer loyalty. Customer is king. So as for you to have a sustainable business, you must begin to scale, increase your access to market. You must be able to get your customers to be loyal and do repeat purchases. That is the only way that it can be sustainable. And your customers must be able to refer you. You'll be participating in industry and community events, just like we have in this program, so you can network and leverage other people's contacts and so on and so forth. There must be continuous improvement, and you must be transparent. You must always take a temperature check. Even if you're having you have a loan facility with a bank, when you make mistake or you have issues, engage your bank. Talk to your bank immediately and say, this is the kind of challenges that we have, that I'm having. They will come in. So you begin to work together. Also, for you to be sustainable, you need to form strategic partnerships and alliances. You cannot do it alone. You must look at the ecosystem. You collaborate to compete. Right? Partnership is the way to go, and to also grow in organically. So you must look at partners, that are enablers that will enable your business. You must also leverage innovation. You must. It's not an option. If you don't innovate, you die. Post-COVID, pre-COVID, there are lots of, businesses that we are doing pretty well, like the publishing businesses, people that was printing. In fact, you guys will remember that before COVID, there's no office you go to that you don't see about 20 national newspapers on their reception. Magazines, some are lifestyle magazines and all of that, isn't it? Right? So even when people come to those offices, they even some even take papers and go. Post-COVID, I don't remember the last time you go to any of the offices, you really see newspapers all over the places, because before you even wake up, you've even read all the news. They are social media. So if those guys that we are doing publication, we are not innovative, they then begin to innovate. Some of them may have been impacted. So you must look at, how do I innovate? How do I scale? How do I sustain? You must also have a research mindset. If it's possible, sometimes you can even get some people to do some research for you. If you don't research, you may not even know when to change the dynamics and the models of your business. if you have a particular product have its own life cycle. So at some point, that product has gotten to its maturity stage. You may no longer necessarily be selling. So if you have 10 product items, maybe 2 or 3 have gotten to their maturity stage. So what are you doing to innovate? Do you want to change them? Do you want to rejig them? Are you thinking about your strategy? And you must also have a mentor, someone you look up to in the industry. You understand? It's not as if that, yeah, you guys might be doing the same line of business, but someone that is willing to allow you draw from his pool of experience. You know, experience is the best teacher, but it's always expensive to also learn from experience. So you must also be able to have someone you look up to, someone you run to counsel and advise, someone that might have gone through the route that you are going through, so you can be able to learn and pick some points. So for us, these are some of the things that we look at to say that this your business is sustainable, is what, and of course you must have regular and periodic stakeholders engagement. You are investors, you are staff. I mean, these days you hear things around best place to work. Wema Bank last year won the best place to work. You know, so you must also, at leadership level as an entrepreneur, it's your business. Like the panelists here have said that you can't do it alone. You must create a good environment, an exciting environment that is not toxic, that will enable and bring out the best in your people. Productivity index is very important. Because it's your business, you want to hire and fire. People should be able to work with you with passion, right? So you must be able to create an environment and respect employment charter. So if you say that someone needs 30 minutes break in a day, is doing 8 to 5 for you, respect that 30 minutes. Allow him or her that 30 minutes to eat. These are little things that matter. If someone is not feeling so well, it's different when an employee is playing pranks or truancy. But you know, the employee, what also shows their level of dedication is when they see that the management or the leadership of where they work is also thinking about their own welfare. Expose them to programs. Look at courses, you know, that you may not necessarily have to pay for. Conferences, seminars, send them, ask them to go and network, because when they network and have a cross-fertilization of ideas, they also bring that ideas back to your business. If some of them are doing some part-time programs, don't frustrate them. An MBA holder who are just finished from a business school working for you, you may not have even increased the salary because they are just gotten an MBA. But some other person that is a school cert holder that may have not gone to a business school and met other captains of industry in the business class may not be giving you the same value. So if this guy, for example, because I'm heavy on about having a good, an exciting workplace and workplace environment, that is why even for us as financial institution, I don't fund that business. I don't just fund the cash flow. The business is not the building. It's the human beings, it's the human capital, the human resources in that business that will drive that business. So even in lending and supporting businesses and looking at sustainability or a business that is sustainable, these are part of the things that we look at. You're a CEO, you can't go on leave. Sunday to Sunday you are working, you are not sustainable. You must begin to create some level of structure. So madam is here now. They've taken light in her boutique. They are calling her to approve 5,000 to buy black market 4 liters. And she's here speaking English. She's not sustainable. It's just talk show. So she must have created some level of structure and delegate to say, okay, shop manager, if you can do some 20,000 expense for the day, subject to XYZ. Yeah, you're going to review. So these are the things that you do, because, for example, I saw a customer who was borrowing from a bank in tens of millions, and I don't know what happened. I think it was LASA or something. Some agency came and sealed up the place. You sealed up the place because the customer is owing about 62,000, and that day they've made sales well over 9 million. And I happened to stop over there. The man wasn't around. He was in China for some program. They couldn't reach him. Customers couldn't access the place. And I called the head of the customer care and say, so why can't you guys just pay? He said, that man, pay. If it's next 3 days that we can reach him. WhatsApp isn't going. We don't have WeChat. So we're going to leave the shop the way it is. So you can imagine the losses, the revenue loss in the last 4. Then didn't happen. Thursday, Friday was a public holiday. The Monday was a public holiday. So they couldn't even go to pay. So that business was literally shut down for about 6 days. And this is a business that turns over about 40 million monthly. And you cannot even create a structure where if there are some kind of regulatory payments that needs to be made for the business, for whoever is the shop manager to make that payment. And of course, he will pay into the bank and keep the receipt so that business can continue. So these are part of the things and some of the indicators and metrics that shows a business that is sustainable, that can thrive. So that in another 79 years, like in Wema, we'll be able to see some of us here very old. You would have even retired as a board chairman. You have children and other investors are running the businesses. And you can look back to say, I took the right step. And today, like Madam has done 20 years, as I heard. So in another 5 years, I want to see her quoted in the Nigeria Stock Exchange. So it becomes a public limited liability company. That's how to scale. And if you listen to what she said, she's been taking the right steps in the right direction. And that's why I take that. So in London, I would say collaboration, partnership, research, having good place to work, putting a structure that will outlive you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was a really helpful encapsulation of everything we've spoken about. I think I want to give the audience time as well. You will see these speakers after, but I think we have some time for a few questions. There are a few hands already in the audience. I saw 3 hands. Is there someone okay, there's someone going around with the mic. Please introduce yourself and let us know who your question is directed at. And please, 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 let's keep our questions to 1 or 2 lines. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ma. My name is Abdul Malik. My question goes like this. It's very easy to separate a business money in the terms of if someone doesn't have its own personal money to finance itself, both clothing and shelter itself, where would the person see money to be sustaining itself? I think that's what makes some businesses still crawling. That is my question. I just want to put me the answer that where would the person be seeing that money to be sustaining itself if he's not taking the money from the business?
Who is your question?
Let me attempt your question. So your question is, I mean, all of us are talking as if we gave you money somewhere, right? We just talk. Yeah, no, that it is. I love very constructive engagement. You know, it's easy to also sit down on this side of the divide and talk to entrepreneurs. Some of us may not even be entrepreneurs, and we're talking as if there is money kept somewhere. Is that easy? It's a stroll in the park. Now, like, if you look at the fundamentals of starting a business, you need, if I ask all of you here, 99% of you will tell me that your problem is access to finance. As an SME, everybody needs money, which is good. But there are several other issues like access to finance, access to market, poor infrastructure, poor human resources, and all of those things. You must have self-discipline. You went to school, and at some point your parents were giving you your school fees to pay. Why you no chop them? You would have blown your school fees and dropped out of the university. So some of us, we are in schools, right, in high institutions, right? And our parents will send our school fees to our account to pay. And at some point you are broke. There's campus shows going on. Award night, you need to buy ticket and go and attend. But you will know, but you are disciplined not to touch your school fees, not to touch your money for handout and textbook. That is how you look at that business funds. You must separate yourself. A lot of us here have, if you go out now, you see people, they bring out their debit card. L'Oreal Bags Enterprises. That debit card, L'Oreal Bag Enterprises, is a business name. The person is using it to buy a lollipop, ice cream, pay Uber, light, buy Weave On, do nails. What's the difference? What's L'Oreal's own with your nail? It's a business. So you must learn that you go and get a mobile app and create a personal account for yourself and pay yourself salary on the 24th. You leave the business. It's not just peculiar to us here. If you even go to the traders in the shops, some of them as they close, they'll say, Shola, how much is there? Give me 200,000. They put it in his pocket. Your wife comes to your shop, you tell your sales, you release 15,000 to her. Why? That is the business. So one is that you must separate yourself from the business, put yourself on salary. That your salary, you must still save from that salary. Because you shouldn't even finish your salary. You are an employee of the business, you're a CEO. You are an employee. And don't go and say, I'm owing. Don't owe as a CEO. Because if you collect money from the business, nobody will chase after you. Now, if you want to start the business and say you want to get a shop, sometimes you can look at it to say, if it is, let's say you're a content creator, for example, or you are even selling, you are even reselling something, can you look at 1 or 2, 3 people that have similar, that you guys can get along and say, can we come together, put money together and open and rent a shop? Some shops you see, there are 5 companies in that shop. So sometimes people just stay there as a contact point. But when your contacts call you, you know where to get the goods and supply them. Now, what that helps you does is that it enables you as a startup to reduce and keep your cost of operation very minimal. If there's no light, then you need 5,000 to buy fuel to put in a past my neighbor, for example. Only you will not buy it. 3 of you will contribute. If you guys want to go solar, you want to get, put like 3 panels, put 1.5 kV just to power a fan while you guys are there. You could put. It's called co-location. So you can share asset, right? If you guys want to get someone to handle your respective social media handle, let's say you're not very tech savvy, you could get a young girl who is a social media influencer or handle or does digital marketing very well, and 3 of you can negotiate to say, let's pay you 45K every month to handle for 3 of us, and she's handling. So don't want to do it alone. That's what we talk about, partnership. That's what we talk about, value chain. Look at your ecosystem. What can you leverage? So it will get to a point where you even build your own plaza, you have your own office, you get your own people. But at the beginning level, you don't need to wait and be halting yourself to say, I can't launch it because I've not raised money. And you cannot just, I'm sorry, sometime back here in this climb, people don't fund ideas. People have ideas and die with the ideas. You must start. So what's your own skin in the game? So it could be your personal savings that you are using to start a business. It could be family, or friends that you've raised some money from to start showing something. Then before you can now start looking at investors, angel investors, banks to come in. But the most important is discipline. Like Madam said, there was a time she was to be wearing Dolce & Gabbana, Dorothy Perkins and all of those things. She took her time to say, let me even, look for things that are essential for me for now. At this time, she can afford anything. So that is, and also as young people, peer pressure kills us. People are uploading a number of things on their WhatsApp stories and Instagram. Yes, you are having depression. You are not in any competition with those guys, right? So you must have your own niche, have your focus. That's why we say you must have a business plan. And once that is done, you follow it and continue looking for areas of partnership and collaboration to scale. And you begin to see yourself make improvement in your business. Thank you very much.
I hope that answered your question very well. Great. I think we can take, there's a question here. I don't know who's going around with the mic.
Good day, everyone. My name is Toyin. While he was teaching, he mentioned mentorship. And I think there is a gap in that area. Because when we look at 90% of us here, we don't have mentors. Like, okay, we come to event and they will say, okay, see me. Maybe 20 of us go to their DM and they answer you after 2 weeks because they have family issues to attend to. We say we need money also. Okay, they say they give every one of us 1 million now. What do we do with the money? Like, okay, let's say we have plans of what to do. How do we know that this is the right thing to do that will make the business grow? Mentorship, but they are always very far away from us. I don't know how this can be bridged because I see it as a gap.
I think.
Can I answer that?
So, sorry, who is your question directed at? Okay, I think. Okay. Can we take one more question so we compile it? I think Mrs. Taba, you can answer that, and then we'll take the next one and hand it over. There are a few more questions. The mics are going around. Okay, cool.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dimeji. This is a follow-up question to when he talked about paying yourself. So, at what point you can't start a business and you think you can just start paying yourself? So, let's say you don't have a personal income, right? And you are starting a business. At what point should you consider paying yourself? And what is the percentage that would be right? Because as the owner of the business, you can give yourself you can pay yourself any amount. So what should you look at? What are the parameters you should look at to judge that? Thank you.
Okay, I think we'll pause on the questions for now because we're almost at time. I think we will take those two questions, but I would also like to reassure everyone that these amazing panelists are around for a little while, so feel free to approach them with further questions. I think I will distribute the questions that were just asked myself. For the mentorship question, I would like Mrs. Mobo to answer that, and then for the you can't pay yourself question, Mrs. Taba can answer that because she already had an answer right off. So I think we'll go with mentorship first.
Mentorship is what I will advise is you are the one that need the mentor, right? You are the one that will go and look for them. The mentors are not looking for you. You will go out and look for the mentor that you want. Yeah. And there are platforms that actually attach mentors to mentees. For example, there's Faith Foundation. Do you know about Faith Foundation? Are you part of Faith Foundation? There's mentorship. There's mentor. No, go back. If you want something, you will hold on until you get it. If you have the mindset of, I did a course with Faith Foundation and I did not get a mentor one, you are not ready for mentorship because the mentors are very busy. You said it. You said they have family issues. Probably not family issues. They have a lot on their mind. They have a lot on their plate. But if you need something, go for it. Do not give up until you lay hold of that mentor that you need in your life. Because once you get that mentor, he helps you move very fast. So there's Faith Foundation. You can join Wimbies. There are a lot, even apart from Faith Foundation and Wimbies, they are big. There are even some little platforms, smaller platforms that you can reach out to. But don't reach out once and say, they did not respond to me. You are not ready. If you want something, go for it. I know Faith Foundation very well because I mentored some people years ago from Faith Foundation and they are still doing it. I know Wimbies also, they are still doing it. I know all these platforms that you see, mothers to baby, entrepreneurships. With this world of Instagram, there are plenty. You just have to look for it. Identify the kind of mentors that you want in your life as well. Don't use Instagram for all those things you see on Instagram to judge your mentor. Be serious. What are the values you want in a mentor? What are you looking for? Where are you as a person? What do you need now? Because this thing will change over time. You don't have to have one mentor for the whole of your life. At this point in time, what do you need? What is your need? And use that to determine who you are going after. And she might not have time for you one-on-one. There are a lot of ways mentorship happen. It can be like you join their group, they share information, you can send questions to them, they will answer. And if they say pay. Look for the ones you can afford. Don't pay the very expensive ones if you can't afford them. It's not every time that is free. In this age of Instagram, everything is what? Monetized. So just choose the one you can afford, but go for it. There is always someone out there. How many people are we in Nigeria? Over 250 million people. And you say you don't have a mentor. You're not serious. Over 250 million. There is one person looking for you. There is one person that is looking for you. And there is one person that you are looking for. But you have to do what? Go for it. Yeah?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. I think that answered your question. So you're going to find a mentor no matter what it takes. I wish you the best on the journey. I think Mrs. Taba will then take the final question. Yeah.
Okay. I just want to say a couple of things on this mentorship. It's very easy to ask for a mentor, but as mentees, and I was discussing this on a platform I'm on, there is work as a mentee. You know, apart from finding the mentor, you also need to make sure you're committed to that relationship. Forever how long, maybe you decide 6 months or whatever. You also have a role to play to think about, what do I want from this person? That's why, as our banker said, the importance of keeping, if you're in a particular industry, if you're in leather or whatever, network around the industry, read up, research, know what's what's happening, know developments within fashion, know what's trending, you've got to, and that way, if you attend things like this kind of forum, and they don't always cost a lot, many of them are free, then that's a better way, that's a practical way to begin to find what you need. But you have to do the homework and define what you need. In terms of paying yourself, yes, I agree, at the beginning there may not be much, but that discipline, as we've been hearing, the discipline of, I think I was in business maybe 4-5 months or something. I made sure my staff were paid, but you start small. As we said, don't hire everybody you think from day one. So you start small. The discipline of carving out something for yourself on a monthly basis, before you can move as the business grows to full salary, is very, very important. Because if the business is not viable, like they can't earn you a living or can't even extract something for you, then then you need to go back to the drawing board and reconsider. But I think even from day one, if it's minimum wage you're paying, extract it from the business and put in your pocket.
I see you nodding, so I feel like your question has been answered. And just to build on your mentorship point, one of our sponsors, actually, Wema Bank, has an incubator program that trains lots of young women. If you're looking for a mentor, maybe that's a fresh channel you can explore. Mr. Author has guaranteed me that you'll find a mentor in that channel. All right. I would like for sorry.
Talking about mentorship, please read a lot. You don't have to see the person. When I started, I didn't have a mentor. I had people in America, in US, in Canada. They were my mentors. I was reading all their books. So read. Look for that thing you're looking for, and also read. We don't let that word mentor be that big thing that you want to touch, feel. This world is social media now. You don't have to touch and feel. It's another realm, and you have a mentor there. Yeah?
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Can we give our panelists a louder round of applause, please?
Thank you so much. That was phenomenal, wasn't it? Wow, amazing. Thank you so much for just sharing straight from your hearts and just being vulnerable, open to share all that you did today. We really appreciate that. We have a token to say thank you on behalf of Lagos Leather Fair. I'd like to call Mrs. Omobowale Biobaku first to please accept this on behalf of LLFA. So please clap now. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for sharing. Oh, wow. Please clap again. Thank you. Thank you. Please sit down. Please stay seated here. Oh, we'd like to also thank Mr. Arthur Nkemeh. Thank you so much. Mr. Bill. Thank you so much. Oh, you stay here. All right. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you very much. And also would like to thank Ms. Taba Peterside also as well. Thank you. Pardon? Peterside, I beg your pardon. Thank you very much, ma'am. We really appreciate your vulnerability. Thank you so much. We enjoyed it. Thank you Please sit down. And of course, our wonderful moderator. Please put your hands together for Sinmi Olayebi. Thank you so much, Sinmi. You did a fabulous job. Is Mrs. O here? We'd like to take a picture of Mrs. Olayebi. Can you please come forward? Can you please stand up to take a picture? Thank you very much. Pardon? Pardon? You should put the gift down. Ah. Can we do with the gift and then without? Let's hold the gift and then without. Thank you. Yes, please. And then we'll do one without. Thank you very much. Is your phone too big?